I'm Dale Howell. I'm the co-chair of House and Grounds Committee here at AUUC Church. I'm here with the other chair, co-chair, Ed Kringer. Ed?
Yep, and we have been working on building and grounds together for about 2-3 years now. But our church has been very involved in greening the church for quite a while. We have a green sanctuary committee that grew out in part of the social justice committee. And so years ago, we started doing things, but only in the last couple of years and through the partnership with Building and Grounds, and especially under Dale's lead, have we gone from crawling to running.
The church here is a Unitarian Universalist church. We have 6 values that are soon to be amended that center on love. One of the things that is very important within our values is the environment and making sure that we are doing everything that is possible to control our energy usage, reduce our carbon footprint, and Sanctuary is very committed to that.
And to feed off that, one of our big values is we are part of an interconnected society, interconnected world. So what we do affects everybody else, and what people do affects us. So we try to make our contribution to that as positive as possible. Our congregation is about 180 members strong, and we built this building slightly over 30 years ago. And at the time it was built, it wasn't the most energy efficient building that could have been built due to financial constraints.
But over the years, there's been a number of changes that have improved that. And one is that we've replaced most of the doors and windows with Energy Star compliant windows.
Yep, these doors show what you can do on the cheap. We've got 2 sets of these double doors that have been here forever. They need to be replaced. We want to replace them because they're very energy inefficient, but we just can't afford to do it. It's not a high priority. But what Dale did do was go through here, and since we don't open them anyway, he totally put new weather stripping in, and it has reduced the air leakage tremendously.
We're in the lobby of the church, and it's always been cold here in the lobby. I started looking into it and found that we had an air leak where there was no insulation in this cold air return. The reason that the insulation had been removed is that there is a sprinkler head up here that needs to have heat to keep it from freezing up in the winter. Well, there was a solution, and that was to box it in so that you could still have the sprinkler head, but have it insulated all the way around it. It's made the lobby much more comfortable with having that change and reduced our energy usage. One of the changes that we've made here at the church is to change all of our lighting to LEDs. That means changing, there's 40 of these units, these box units with 4 tubes in each of them, changing all of those tubes to an LED bulb from the fluorescent. There are wiring changes that are required. If you're not comfortable doing those wiring changes, have an electrician do them. But we ended up replacing somewhere in the vicinity of 160 bulbs with LEDs, much more energy efficient. One of the things that we have here at the church that seem to work very well is the programmable thermostats that can be controlled remotely with the phone. I can anticipate what the energy requirements will be for that day based on the church calendar. Who's going to be there? When are they going to be there? Set it up remotely so that we satisfy the temperatures that are needed to make the church comfortable, but yet when it's unoccupied, we can go back to a cooler or hotter temperature depending on winter or summer. It seems to work very well. I highly recommend it. Here we have our parking lot LED lights, dark sky, and very efficient LEDs. They're all on a timer that can be set from anywhere from 5 minutes to 4 hours. We encourage people to only set them as long as they need to get to their cars and leave the parking lot. I want to talk about my favorite device favorite HVAC device. And it's this heat pump, which is a high efficiency unit, 6 years old. This services 600 square feet of office space. We have our HVAC system segmented so that we can shut down major portions of the church when they're not in use. And this ends up servicing the 3 offices of the staff. It's very efficient from AC standpoint. It's a SEER rating of 14. From a heat standpoint, I can only say, I can't give you any specs on it, but I can say that it has a rapid recovery. I keep the offices at 60 all the time. When staff comes in the winter, they comment that, yeah, the heat was off. I had to turn it up, but it got to temperature within 20 minutes. So it seems to work best that way. As a result of our energy efficiency improvements that we've talked about elsewhere, we have been reclassified by Dominion from a GS2 customer to a GS1 customer. Now, it's a little bit hard to understand when you hear that, what the savings are. So let me explain. Between the February bill and the March bill, we went from 13.6 a kilowatt hour to 11.3. Over the course of a year, 40,000 kilowatt hours being our annual consumption, that's $920. Our energy bill or budget for the year went from 6,000 to just barely over 5,000.
Well, what you've heard so far are all of the things that we have done to do 2 things. One, to lower the amount of energy that we are using, and by doing so, to also lower the cost, the rate cost of that energy. So tremendous savings for our church. But there is one more thing we're looking at that will be our biggest do yet. We want to go solar. And we're looking at that for 2 reasons. One, because it fits in with our belief to do as least harm to our environment as we can, but also we believe it's cost effective for the church. You see behind you the church, you see the roof. We want to put 77 solar panels on that roof on 3 sides, east, west, south, that would generate approximately 32 kilowatts of power. This, in doing so, we believe that we can pay for that because of our reduced energy consumption. What we are looking at now is to have member financing to finance that part that the federal government doesn't pay. Now, what do I mean by that? I say if you ever want to go solar, now's the time. The federal government will cover 30% of whatever your cost is, but there's also Virginia programs that will pay up to $10,000 as long as you're spending $20,000 or more. All of that will make this very cost effective for us, then we would then finance the rest. What we would generate over the course of the year would more than offset what energy that we use, and we would be actually saving money each year. If you look ahead into the future, there is a good thought, especially here in Virginia, with the increasing demand for electricity, that electric costs may rise tremendously. If that happens, then we'd even save more money.